Hey, in today's video, let's make a Viking helmet here in ZBrush 2024, right? So to get started, I'm gonna go to Lightbox and I'm gonna grab something like the demo head female. That's fine. I'm gonna say no. And next, let's go ahead and subdivide this base mesh by pressing Ctrl D a few times. I'm gonna press it 3 times, and that takes me to subdivision level 4, right? Next, I'm gonna go out of my perspective view or camera, snap into the side view by pressing the Shift key, and let's go ahead and make an extraction for our helmet. So I'm gonna press Control. I'm gonna go into my masking tools. I'm gonna grab something like Mask Lasso, and holding down the Control key, I can make a selection of what I want my helmet to look like. And I would like this part right here to also cover the ears. So I'm gonna press Control, and I'm gonna make a selection that goes something like this. So it's gonna go past the ear and right above the ear for 1 second. And I'm gonna show you why. So now I'm gonna press Control and Alt, and I'm gonna clean this up by just getting rid of this right there. All right. And what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to extract this shape out and then just simply extend this piece down past the ear, because I want my helmet to cover the ear of the head, right? So let's go ahead and go to Subtools, go to Extract, and let's see what 0.02 looks like. If I say Extract, I can see a little preview, and honestly, I would like my helmet to be a little bit thicker. So I'm gonna go to 0.04, which is double by default. Let's go ahead and say Extract, and you can see the thickness of the new shape. I'm gonna say Accept because I like this thickness. And I can hold on Control and drag to get rid of the mask. You can see what that looks like. I'm gonna jump out of a solo mode here. And next, what I would like to do is I'm gonna extend this piece down. So how do I do that? Well, I can hold on the Control key, and let's do the same thing. Let's make a selection that goes something like this. Now if I hold Control and click, I can flip my selection. I can go to my Move tool. Let's go ahead and unlock it. Let's put it into place, something like this. I'm gonna rotate it to kind of match the direction of the bottom here. And once I'm happy, I'm gonna lock this up and just simply pull this down, right? I can also move this back a little bit, and I can even rotate it. And I think that is what I was looking for. I think that's great. Let's go ahead and do Control and drag to get rid of the masking. I'm gonna go into Draw tool to reset my gizmo. And one thing that I'm noticing obviously is the ears poking out. So to fix this, I'm gonna go back into my head, and let's just simply grab something like the move brush, make it kind of large, and let's just kind of make sure that our active symmetry is on by pressing X. And let's just tuck these in a little bit. I think that's great. Next, I'm gonna go back into this shape here. And what I would like to do is, if we want to clean up some of this geometry, we can of course ZRemesh it. So let's go ahead and do that. But another thing we can do is, let's go ahead and clean up some of these lines that are clearly super messy. So to clean this up before we ZRemesh it, let's do Control and Shift to go into our knife tool, grab something like the knife curve, and let's just simply cut the bottom here. I'm gonna do press spacebar to move this line around. And then I'm going to tap Alt twice to make a sharp cut, and I'm going to make a cut right here. You can see how I can quickly kind of clean all of this up, right? Really cool. Another thing I would like to do is I would like to make a border that's going all the way around the bottom of this mesh. And to do this, what I would like to do is first I'm going to change the shape of this. This needs to be just a little bit more round, like a real helmet, right? So it doesn't look exactly like the human head. And if we wanted to, we can even adjust it here as well. We can also maybe move this away from the head just a little bit, right? And next, to make the border, what would be a clever way to quickly make this into a border, right? I think what we should do is let's just simply duplicate this shape, and I'm gonna hide the original. Now I'm gonna press Control Shift, and let's go back into our knife curve. And let's just simply slice. I'm gonna slice the top, something like that. This is about the thickness that I like. And I'm gonna also do the same thing here. I'm gonna go down here, press spacebar to kind of find the right thickness. And then also again, tap Alt twice really fast and let go. And now we have a border going all the way around, right? Now we just need to make sure that this is kind of offset from the original shape. So let's go ahead and unhide this and go back into our border. Now we can just simply maybe inflate it. Let's just inflate this up a little bit. Just a little bit, right? So it goes a little past the initial shape. And I'm not really too concerned about all of this looking terrible because we're gonna ZRemesh this right now, right? So to clean this up, let's go ahead and do that. And we can see what kind of results we're getting. So I'm gonna go to Geometry, I'm gonna go to ZRemesher, and if we turn our polyframe, we can see what that looks like. Another thing we can do is maybe let's click on Detect Edges, and let's just say Keep Groups. So each surface kind of stays true to itself, right? Maybe that will make it nice and clean for us and clean some of this terrible geometry down there. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to simply say ZRemesh. Alright, and you can see how automatically ZRemesher will do a beautiful job cleaning all of that mess up, which is pretty fantastic, right? If we wanted to dial this down, you know, if this is a game model, of course you can dial this down. I'm not really gonna worry about that yet. But at any point we could always turn adapt off, do half, and do another ZRemesh, and you can see how the topology is going to start getting more and more optimized, right? So that's totally up to you. I'm going to jump out of the polyframe and let's go take a look. Alright, so that looks great. Let's go ahead and go to Crease, and let's go ahead and do Crease Polygroups. I'm going to press that, and now I can do Control D. And let's subdivide it a few times, and you can see how the geometry is nice, beautiful, and clean, right? Let's go ahead and do the same thing with this piece here. Same thing, I'm going to select it, and before we ZRemesh it, let's maybe add another border that is going to be in the center, right? So I'm thinking I would like another one. I'm going to press Control. I'm going to go into Mask Rectangular, and I would like another border like running right in the center, something like this, right? I think that would be pretty cool. And for that to work, let's do the same thing. Let's go ahead and duplicate this mesh once more. Now let's just simply press Control and Shift, go into our knife tool. Let's grab something, knife rectangular tool. Again, active symmetry is on, and I'm just going to simply make I'm going to start kind of cutting these away until I kind of get the thickness that I like, which is going to be about the same as the bottom, right? So something along these lines, I think is pretty great. And next, let's go ahead and maybe do the same thing. Let's ZRemesh this and clean this up. So I'm going to go into Geometry. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna go to ZRemesher, turn my Detect Edges, turn on Keep Groups, and I'm gonna go Adaptive at 5. That's fine, and just do a ZRemesh. All right, now this doesn't look as clean as I would like, so I'm going to ZRemesh this one more time. And let's go ahead and turn on Adapt. Let's do half and do it again. And just kind of keep doing it until you get the result that you like. I'm going to do it one more time. And you can see how it starts to kind of dial in and look nicer and nicer, right? Same thing, let's go ahead and go to Crease. I'm going to do Crease Polygroups and do Control D a couple times until this is nice and clean and smooth, right? I'm going to go back to Subtools, let's turn this back on. And let's turn on our transparency. grab our move brush, make it kind of large, and let's just kind of push this border out a little bit so it kind of extrudes from the base mesh, right? So we can see it a little bit better. And I don't really want any gaps. I want it to be kind of a watertight, but at the same time I do want to make sure that it kind of comes out from the base. So I think something along these lines looks nice, and I do want to kind of tuck it in the front and also the back, right? So there's just a little bit of an edge there. I think that looks really nice. Very cool. Let's go ahead and do the same thing with this. We need to clean this up as well. Again, geometry, ZRemesher. Let's do detect edges, keep groups, and ZRemesh. Alright, I'm getting pretty terrible results, so I'm going to do turn off adapt, do half, ZRemesh, and I'm going to keep doing it until I can even smooth this out a little bit until I kind of get what I want, which is, you know, something relatively clean and looking nice. I don't need to do crease edges because I can't even see any of the edges. They're kind of inside these other meshes, so I'm just going to simply do Control D and subdivide this a few times. I can hold down the Shift key if I needed to smooth this out. If you still have kind of a wobbly surface like I do here, you can do a trick. You can always, let's go to like subdivision level, let's go to like 3. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete lower and higher and stay on 3. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back to 5 and do another round of ZRemesher. Because now this looks a little bit cleaner, and I think ZRemesher will do a better job, and I can even smooth this out, do a better job retopologizing this. So let's go ahead and do that. And you can see how I'm getting a much better kind of a clean result, right? Which is great. And I am kind of seeing a little bit an issue here. I can fix that. All right, very nice. Next, let's do Control D and subdivide this again a couple times. We can do a BPR to preview and make sure that everything looks perfect. If you see any issues, you can of course take care of it by, again, just keep ZRemeshing. But I think at this time I'm just going to move forward, right? So now we have something like this. I think it would be cool if we, again, if this is a Viking helmet, maybe you want to add a couple horns on the side. So to do that, let's go to Subtool, let's go and do Insert, and let's just grab something like our Cone 3D here. That's fine. I'm gonna go to Move. I'm gonna move this aside, make this a little bit smaller, do something like that. I can press Control D a few times to make sure this is nice and smooth. Maybe put it into position, and then decide what size you like. So something that makes sense. You can make it a little smaller, put it, kind of center it. And now to add a nice bend, let's go jump into this gear, go to Bend Curve. Before we do that, obviously we need to delete our subdivision levels. Let's try this again, Bend Curve. Let's go ahead and do, let's give ourselves at least 3 dots for the resolution, and let's just simply bend this in. And maybe we can bend this way. And we can press this in as well. And just decide what kind of shape you like, but totally up to you. Come up with your custom Viking shape. Once you're happy, just go to Draw. That will kind of bake it in. Let's go ahead and just do a mirror, and then mirror and weld to flip it to the other side. So now we have 2 of them, right? If you wanted to create kind of a cool connection there at the helmet, we could do that too. We can go to Subtools, we can duplicate this, and let's go ahead and hide the original. Let's do Control Shift, do something like the curve. Let's just simply slice maybe all of these here. And you know what? I actually want to active symmetry to be on. So let's go ahead and do a slice, maybe close to the base. And again, let's unhide this. And let's just simply inflate our new one. And just like we did before, same thing. Let's go to Geometry, ZRemesher, Detect Edges, Keep Groups. Let's do a 5 and let's do a ZRemesh. Again, this is gonna do a nice job cleaning up. If we wanted to, we can go to half and do something even cleaner, right? I'm happy with this. Do Control D to subdivide this a couple times, and let's go into perspective view and take a look. So now I have this really cool helmet. We can do a BPR, and there you go. Now, if you wanted to do more detail, maybe you want to add some, maybe you want to insert some spheres. You know, Viking helmets sometimes have kind of spheres going to the top. That's pretty easy to do. If you hold on the Alt key, you can click and select. Let's select this element here, and let's go ahead and go to our brushes. I'm going to press I for insert, and I'm just going to grab something like the IMM primitive here. That's fine. I'm going to grab this insert sphere, and now if I turn off my active symmetry, I can just, let's go into geometry, and let's, we can either freeze this, right? We can freeze subdivision levels, or in my case, I don't really need to have these levels. So I'm just going to simply say delete lower. And now what I could do is I can just insert this sphere. Now, if I wanted the sphere to be lower, right, I can go in the side view. And one way of doing it is I can just simply move it into position. So that probably would be the easiest. And while we're in the side view, let's go ahead and turn transparency on. Holding down the Control key, I can just keep making duplicates and maybe move these guys all the way around, right? And have, you know, as many as you want. And you can still, after you make copies of these, you can still move them around and adjust them pretty easy, right? I can show you how to do that. So once you put these into position, let's go ahead and jump out of the transparency mode, go back into draw. Let's go ahead and click Control and drag to get rid of the selection. We can see what that looks like. Let's say for whatever reason I want to adjust the position of some of these, right? How do I do that? Well, what I could do is I can turn on my polyframe and I can do auto groups. And what that's going to allow me to do, you can jump into something like the move brush, make it kind of large, and you can just simply turn on mask by polygroups. If you turn that on, and that's located under brush auto masking. So if you go to brush auto masking, you'll find this slider. And if you turn on your mask by polygroups, that's going to allow you to move each sphere individually and kind of just take your time and make sure you like its position and depth and all of that. All right, so I think this is as far as I'm going to take it. Let's go ahead and do a BPR and take a look. And there you go. All right, so thank you for joining me today. I hope you learned something new and made an awesome custom Viking helmet. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.